New blog post. Director's Take Our Development Values Part 1. Hello everyone and happy 2024. We're at the start of the new year and I thought it would be a great idea to talk about our view of 2024. This Director's Take will be one part of a series where we frame up the year according to a set of values we're using to develop the game. These values translate into goals and specific additions and changes to the game. There's a lot of different things coming up this year that I want to share, so think of this as the first in a series of topics to cover. One of the biggest values of the Overwatch team is to constantly improve the core PvP game. This is a broad topic spanning both in-game and out-of-game systems. Today, I'd like to look at where we're at with the actual in-match experience, the moment-to-moment combat. So we're talking about effectively gameplay. I'll talk about what we think is working, what isn't working, and go into some of our plans for the future. Additional director stakes in this series will look at the systems surrounding the PvP experience, such as our core competitive system, hero balance, and economy. Economy? I'll also take some time to talk about future events and limited time game modes, as well as larger systems that have the possibility of coming to the game. Oh, pause, champ. So, let's get into the gameplay. Starting with the obvious, Overwatch is a team-based, hero-based, multiplayer competitive shooter in which you win if you have luck. Heroes, maps, and game modes are all designed to require teams to work together in order to successfully win a match. This is why only one person is usually in voice chat and another person is usually spamming Tracer here throughout the enemy here throughout the entire game. When a team works together, each player using their hero to their fullest potential while relying on each other to execute a strategy, the game feels magical. There's really no other FPS like it. However, what do you mean? Overwatch 1. However, when this isn't happening and players are all working on their own, the game is far from magical and can become frustrating. The reliance on teammates can simultaneously be one of the best and worst attributes of our game. We want to improve this. We want to improve this by looking at a game through the lens of teamwork and make it easier for players to be part of the team while also lessening some of the pain when it's not happening. In fact, a lot of our goals for improving the core game stem from looking at Overwatch as a whole, improving the parts of the game that are working and finding fixes for the parts that negatively affect the experience. I don't know why, but I'm feeling a little bit scared. So up until now, what they said was it's more of a team game. So it's trying to make it so that you don't have to depend on your team that much. Okay, Monka W. We've already implemented some features to align with this. The ping system and the New York Spawn together system both encourage team play. Okay. Force team play, I guess. For those who didn't know, the Spawn Together system adjusts individuals' player respawn time so they respawn with teammates more often. This system will get a tuning pass in Season 9 to make the effect more prominent, but we're talking about features that will make it easier for players to work together as a team. I think that the Spawn Together system is only in quick play, if I'm not mistaken. It is not in competitive. Party frames is... Wait. Party frames is one of these. These are the on-screen player health indicators that we use for our PvE events. Okay. Other possible features such as backfill improvements, changes to our scoreboard, and ways to mitigate spawn camping also align with this. To show the extent... I'm leaning in. This is... Okay, we have some news. To show the extent of our discussion, we have made more paragraphs. Even an ally-only minimap feature was discussed. I'm a fan of minimaps. Some of these systems are under discussions and some are in development. I don't think a minimap has a high likelihood of shipping, but I do think that party frames are likely. Okay, so they're just telling us what they're talking about, what they're planning, which might result in them adding them or not. But apparently, probably... likely party frames will be in game. As long, hear me out, we have no idea how they're going to implement them and stuff, but as long as you have an options to maybe disable party frames or enable them, have them on by default, I think it's going to be okay, because Overwatch is a very clutter heavy game. There are a lot of things happening, and then you give me that there too, it's going to be a lot. But for some heroes, party frames are going to be sick. So party frames are the ones in PvE, you know, when you saw your HP bar, I think your allies' HP bar and stuff, and in a corner. Good. Happy with this. Backfill improvements, changes to our scoreboard, okay, and ways to mitigate spawn camping. I don't know about this one because mitigate spawn camping. Spawn camping is a strategy. Change my mind. Spawn camping is a strategy. Spawn camping is a strategy. We've seen, like, I think it's the core of, not the core of Overwatch, but it is frustrating, but understanding, like, where they're gonna go from and stuff. This is a strategy. You're getting rewarded for doing this. Now you're gonna get punished. Not punished. You just get moving part of the intricacies of the game. You know what I mean? Like, what happens if you play Sombra, for example? What happens if your team can't win the 5v5 because the enemy team is just better? So you're a Tracer and you want to go and spawn camp somebody to make the fight 5 versus 4 afterwards. Honestly. Spawn camping, you know when it was, and I'm going to dive into the other paragraphs, but I'm going to close the parenthesis in a second. Spawn camping was an issue, I would say, and I think they did some changes when, before Overwatch League, I think in 2017, when there was a team called Rogue in EU that was spawn camping on Gibraltar with 6 minutes. Like, that was their strategy. Just spawn camp, spawn camp, spawn camp, spawn camp. That changed. We have, press F to go to the other spawn. I don't know. But party frames are interesting. It's our hope that staying closer to your teammates and having more information on what they're doing will help encourage team play. But what happens when your team is not working well together? Spawn camp. We definitely want to make this less frustrating. I'm scared. We've talked about the new competitive system coming to Season 9, but there's a massive set of gameplay and balance changes coming to that season as well. Many of those changes are aimed at reducing damage spikes in combat. Okay. I won't get into all of it here. We're working on a standalone post to be published closer to the start of the season, but I'm not crying, okay? I just want to let you know, I'm not crying. I am having a small cold, I think. My nose is runny. So, no, I'm serious. I was sneezing all day long. So trust me, this is not because of the blog. Reducing damage spikes in combat. So wait, no more burst damage? Are they? So what's gonna happen? Everybody's gonna be incredibly tanky. We're gonna stack a lot of healing because you can't cut through it, and that's it. Damage spikes, huh? I won't get into all of it here. We're working on a standalone post to be published closer to the start of that season. But for the sake of the current discussion, I'd like to talk about one aspect of it. In Season 9, both tank and damage heroes will get a modified, tuned-down version of the support self-healing passive. Let them cook. Okay, let them cook. This should give non-support players more options in terms of sustaining themselves. It should also take some pressure off. Take some of the pressure off support players to keep everyone alive, since individual players now have more control of their own health pool. In Overwatch, there is a constant tug of war between the power of a team and the power of an individual hero or player. A change like this shifts that balance a bit. This is something that we're constantly evaluating. We still want Overwatch to be defined by team strategy and mechanics, but we feel this can be pulled back a bit now and possibly more in the future. Okay, I kind of want to dive incredibly deep into this. How much do we have? Okay, one more paragraph. There's just one word right now to describe this. A couple of words, actually. Worried, confused, what? And I'll say why I think that this is not a good idea. Okay? Once I'm done with this paragraph. Otherwise, we just covered everything. Oh my god. And no, these are not tears. No, I'm not crying from my nose. Okay, so we were here. We're also actively looking for new ways of improving the core gameplay experience. We just launched our first quick play hacked event for the weekend. There will be modified rules in effect in our quick play. Okay, we talked about this. Everything is going to be faster. This particular experiment is designed to look at how these changes affect the player psychology. For instance, if a player spends less time winning in spawn, will getting eliminated by an opponent be less frustrating? If matches are shorter, will each loss have the same sting that it currently does? There are also other out-of-game benefits that could come from this event, such as quicker matchmaking and quicker challenge completion. Based on the reception to these changes, the team might make some of them permanent or use them as the basis for other ideas to improve the game. That's what these quick play hacked events are designed to do: quicken the feedback loop and allow for swifter implementation of improvements to the game. In fact, we have one more coming later in Season 8. You can learn more about quick play hacked here. That's it for the week. We'll be back in a few more to talk about additional ways we're looking at improving Overwatch over the course of 2024. Thanks for reading and watching, and we'll see you in game. Okay, so about this quick play hacked stuff, it's just going to be for this weekend. They're using it, I guess, to collect a lot of data and see if this is going to be a good idea or not. I understand the reasoning behind it. Whenever I play Valorant, okay, the one time a year, I play Spike Rush. It's a fast game mode. I don't want to commit to a very long game. So being able to just... But I still feel like I play Valorant. Being able to try this out a little bit and say that you play some Overwatch and actually experience Overwatch, but not wait for so long, it's fine. We'll see how the game's going to feel and if it's a good idea or not. But again, it's just for the weekend. So now, let's get into the juicy part. So again, the highlight is this. The highlight is this. Don't know about that one then, but I mean, sure. Yeah. Then and rebuild from there by add maybe buffing heroes that struggle in the meta rather than use passives or something like that. Rebuild from there. Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one. Go ahead. Because then that means that if some heroes are struggling, we can just do individual ones. They can just do like individual buffs if they're gonna remove passives altogether with the tweet. Okay, chat, sorry, I had to check a tweet out. We're posting it. So just that, yeah, just that. And then if I need to explain and stuff, yeah, just post that. So, chat, hear me out. In Season 9, both tank and damage heroes will get a modified, tuned-down version of the support self-healing passive. Okay, we have a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go in particular order what's happening here. But first things first. I'm going to start with the small things and then I guess eventually build up to the bigger ones. So, DPS passive in Season 1 was faster reload speed from what I remember, which is still happening after you get an elimination, which obviously some heroes benefited way more than others and still benefit way more than others, like Reaper, for example, or Cassidy. And speed boost after you get an elimination. Now, that was too strong. They removed it. So, if this seems a little bit too much, they can just remove it. The self-healing passive for tank and damage here. They can just remove it. Secondly, so support self-healing passive. So the others are getting their role passive plus a support self-healing passive, which I'm a little bit confused of. Thirdly, we have currently in Overwatch too much healing. And it is not because supports, it is because, in my opinion, small buffs added throughout time that just you give sustain to heroes that shouldn't have that much sustain in the first place. So, like for example, remember when we had a Bastion meta a couple of months ago, when he entered his turret form, he got 50 health or something like that. He regenerated 50 health. He was that paired up with Brig Pack, paired up with Brig Passive, paired up with Baptiste healing him. Of course he's gonna be unkillable, right? We've had, Doomfist right now, in his ultimate, he's regenerating HP. If we keep on doing this, now tanks and DPSs being able to regenerate HP also, then it's just gonna mean that I think it's gonna have the opposite effect. I think they're gonna try. Their philosophy is to make the game a little bit less frustrating, as in, like, you play the game. We've all seen clips in which some players just do this, they take some damage, and then they look at their supports, and they're not getting healed, right? And I'm going to the comments, and we have a couple of solutions. There's a health pack right next to you. The support maybe gets more value at by doing something else, guys, then rather than you getting healed at a particular moment. Also, could take less damage. Also, could maybe try another hero that has some form of self-healing regeneration, like for example Roadhog or Sigma or even Zara Bubbles. So maybe this was their intention with this. Maybe this is for the moments in which you feel like you don't play together as a team and you want everybody to be healed up. But what's gonna happen, in my opinion, is this is just, in higher rankings, this is just going to make everybody want to stack HP. This is just going to make everybody want to stack HP, and we're going to have, literally, in combination with reducing damage spikes in combat, we're going to be risking metas / gameplay that's going to be very similar to GOATs, in which nothing died. Nothing died. Everybody was incredibly tanky, because in Overwatch, in almost every meta, it's all about like stacking what's strong at that moment, I think. So this is like, for example, so one-shots were kind of strong. We're kind of like stacking one-shots. We had double shield was strong. Shields were strong. We're stacking shields in Overwatch 1. Fast heroes were strong. Dive heroes were strong. We're going to play dive because hypermobility stacks and stuff. So there's also another part here. Some heroes will benefit from this way more than others. And that can be discussed also as an argument when the support passive was introduced, that some heroes benefit more than others. For example, Ana and Zenyatta benefited more because then regenerated his shields, but that 50 HP missing right now, I think is 75 HP, would not get regenerated, so we'd have to get some healing from somewhere. And Ana would have to nade for herself. Now, the playstyles for Zenyatta didn't change that much. For Ana kind of changed in Overwatch 2 compared to Overwatch 1 because you can look for more aggressive opportunities. The reason why the support passive in this case at the beginning was felt like it was really, and still feels in some situations that it is really necessary in Overwatch 2. Just for the sake of the discussion right now, we can have arguments if passives should be in the game or not, because the more the game goes on, the more I'm thinking maybe we should have passives, question mark. Allowed you to actually maybe try and play that hero in that situation. But of course, like, some heroes manage to be stronger than others. Now, my question is, how would a Sigma with self-healing passive look like? How would a Mauga with self-healing passive look like? Stacking with what stats they already have, with other sources of self-regeneration that they already have. Of course, we're going to be looking at heroes like Reinhardt that doesn't have, or Winston. These two heroes don't have ways of regenerating their HP, you know? Don't have their ways of regenerating their HP. So will they benefit the most from it? Are they going to make it so that Sigma is going to get lower amount of regeneration compared to tank heroes that have no way of self-regeneration? What's going to happen with Ball? Like, Ball goes through health packs. Now, Ball doesn't have to go through health packs. So I have like so many questions with how this is going to happen, not to mention how strong DPSs will be in taking duels and stuff. Now, another thing. I feel like tanks tank, damage heroes secure kills, right? And supports do a lot of utility, but primarily the utility is done through healing. Now, if we give strengths of some roles to water roles, I feel like the roles are slowly but surely starting to lose essence. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm thinking right now, as a support player, I'll adapt, you know, fine. I'll adapt. But what I'm thinking right now is that, okay, huge utility. I'm gonna do huge utility, huge damage, and I'm not even gonna look at my Reinhardt, for example. So many questions. So many questions, but one thing's for sure. We will have more healing in the game, and damage spike combats will be lower. That's for sure. Also, what does tuned out version of the support passive self-healing mean? I know that I'm not gonna get into the numbers, but does anybody remember like what the support passive is? Is it once every 2 or 3 seconds? 2.5 or 2 seconds? How much regeneration do you get? 2 seconds. How much HP do you get? 3 seconds, I think. 15 heal per second. A weaker version of the support self-healing version then. It's going to be based on support passive. You'll need to be out of combat for ages for this. Will not matter for anyone except flankers and maybe Widow. Aren't you out of combat when you're shielding too? I think you are. Ball's going to be very easy to get out of combat and benefit from this. Recover 15 health per second after not receiving damage for 2 seconds. So what? Are they going to do 10 HP per second? I don't know. I have a lot of questions on this. I have a lot of questions. My instinct is telling me that we're not going to be enjoying this because, again, everybody's going to be very tanky. And a lot of heroes that are already strong are going to be even stronger with everything just stacking. But until we wait and play, we'll see. Definitely, though, some heroes will be stronger than others. I'm looking at... Oh my god. Oh my god, imagine Tracer with this. Oh my goodness. Imagine Tracer with this. But supports will be stuck into supporting way more, which is also pretty nice. Imagine Jungle Queen too, which is pretty nice. And they're just not gonna be heal bots nonstop, which sometimes you gotta do in some metas. Interesting. We'll see. But initial thoughts, I don't think this is good. I think this will just result in a lot of unkillable situations. And I know I see some arguments in chat with combat and stuff. You can play around that. You can play around that with Ana. You can play around that with Ana that doesn't have any mobility. You can play around self-healing passive with any hero for that matter. And Ana's gonna be focused in mid-fight. You can do this with other heroes too. Definitely. And yeah, we're complaining about too much healing in the game, but then we're adding a little bit more. She always said support, not healer. You should be happy with this. Oh, as a support, I am happy. As a support, I'm a little bit happy because I can do way more, you know, and it's not that much responsibility. It definitely takes like some of the stress away from you as a support player, you know, because like you're just gonna be stuck at like looking at somebody. But the problem is that the game might not be sometimes with some heroes doing stuff that enjoyable. Plus, I'm a little bit afraid in the future also about the discussion of support more DPS. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna go like, yeah, but see, support does so much damage now. Support does so much utility now. Support is so annoying now. Support is so, and then what's left? You know, at the end, what's left? Just delete the goal? Like, what's gonna happen? Pretty tricky, pretty tricky. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this blog post and what you think about tank and damage heroes getting a modified tuned down version of the support self-healing passive.